Hi, guys. Today, I just want us to just discuss something that I regard as very, very, very serious. What is actually going on here? We are being played by politicians. All right. Um, for those of you who have watched my previous video where I was talking about the history of politics, political systems, where politicians come from, and where we find ourselves with these politicians today and how they look like. For those of you who have actually watched that video, you'll find it easy as we continue today. And of course, if you disagree with me, you're welcome. All you can do is just to go on the description box, make your comments, and then maybe you can also leave your number, and then I can call you. We can engage. I can invite you for an interview or for a discussion, and then to find out what is in your brain. Sometimes it's not good enough to just complain about what I say, or maybe be angry. All you can do is just be responsible enough to challenge me on the points that I raise in these videos. I've done a video previously discussing the origin of politics, political systems, and looking at where we are today and how did we find ourselves here. Today, I just want to give a stern warning to my fellow South Africans, especially Black people. We're in trouble here. We're played by politicians. Cyril Ramaphosa, that is our president. I'm sure most of you have heard him saying we will not be bullied. And you'd also remember that this is the same person a couple of years ago who said Donald Trump must keep his America and will keep our South Africa. But here's the problem, guys, that I have. You see, Cyril is not and cannot and should not speak on behalf of all South Africans. Cyril does not enjoy the support of all South Africans. We are not all of us ANC members. Some of us were in ANC, we left because of the problems that are there in ANC, how ANC is run. It's almost run like it's a gangster. So when he says we will not be bullied, many people, I noticed that they jumped onto the bandwagon to support Cyril in what he's saying. And in fact, by so doing, we are playing exactly on his hands because that's exactly what he wanted. ANC has been booted out of power. ANC lost power. The reason why ANC lost power is because ANC mismanaged the country over many years. The first couple of years, it was okay when it's Mandela handed over to Mbeki. And then after Mbeki, it was nothing else but a downslope. That's what happened in everything that you can think of. I don't even want to select maybe parts of the economy, everything that you can think of. ANC ran it down. We're given a country, a beautiful country, well-organized country, and they ran it down. Now, ANC lost power in 2024 elections. And then it was brought back to power by the DA. And then now, Cyril, whenever he's making these speeches that he's making wherever he goes, he claims to be speaking on behalf of all South Africans or on behalf of South Africa. I want to correct this one, guys. It's wrong. Cyril is not speaking on behalf of all of us. Right. Let me just take, for instance, the issue of America. America is under a new leadership now, which is called Donald J. Trump. And Donald Trump has made it clear from the beginning to everyone within America and outside America that he's looking internal, meaning he's putting his country first. And that's a man. Once you do that, you put your family first. That's what I would do too. I would put my family first, and every other person comes second, right? That's what Donald Trump has done. Donald Trump did not steal money from anybody. In fact, Donald Trump has, America has been dishing out money to everybody. And all they have done was just to stop the dishing out of money, because Donald Trump believes that America needs to be great again. And I don't find anything wrong with that. And then now, here's the thing. All these public spares that you are witnessing, these are not public spares between South Africans and America. In fact, let me just clearly state it that it's Donald Trump against ANC, not South Africans. Forget it. Donald Trump does not hate South Africans. America has no issues with South Africans. They are intelligent enough, those guys, to know that the problem, our problem, is ANC. It's not South Africans. South Africans are good people. In fact, if you go to all these countries, you'll find one thing. The people in all the countries are good people. All of us who want the same thing. We want happiness. We want to raise our kids properly. We want them to go to school and be successful. We want services. We want our freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of movement, freedom of association, freedom of choice. Those are the things that all of us want in the world. But our biggest problem is the political leadership. When they fight, they are saying they are fighting on behalf of us. That is wrong. In fact, what we need to do as the people of South Africa, we need to start now being vocal and saying, not in our name. You are doing that thing yourself as a politician and with your cabal, with your gangster members, but you are not doing it for us. Us as South Africans, we need to stand up and remove these people who claim to be doing whatever they are doing on our behalf. It's wrong, it's a lie, it's false. It should not be happening. We should not allow it. We should not tolerate it. Okay. So that's basically what is happening. So I'm warning fellow South Africans that do not jump onto the bandwagon. No, leave Cyril and his ANC alone to keep ranting with Awonomvula Mukonyana and all these people talking all the nonsense that they are talking. Okay. In other videos, I'm going to pinpoint all these things that they are talking that I think they're so toxic that a reasonable person, a person with just a simple brain, you don't have to be sophisticated. You can see that these people have actually lost their minds. They actually don't know where they are going, whether they are going or coming. So that's point number one. The other point, guys, is that the issue of AfriForum needs to be treated with care. I'll tell you why. Whether you like it or you don't, the Afrikaners, they belong to South Africa. They are from here. You cannot change that. And the Afrikaners, they have a freedom like any other person. They are enjoying a freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of movement. So they have got the right to talk to anybody. Just like the other time, Gayton McKenzie and Kenny Kunene, they went to Israel, for instance, to go and check and see for themselves whether there was apartheid, as alleged that actually there was apartheid in Israel. And they came back and they said there was no apartheid in Israel. Who blamed them for going to Israel and coming back and saying there's no apartheid in Israel? And they made it clear that Hamas was a terrorist organization and that must be destroyed. Nobody said anything, right? And even ANC that supports Hamas, they could not do anything because these guys, they were just enjoying a freedom of speech that anybody in South Africa should be enjoying. So I don't understand this halabaloo about AfriForum going to America, saying whatever they have said. We're going to deal with that at a later stage. But for now, I just want to deal with the fact that there are no issues with AfriForum. AfriForum belongs here. Afrikaners, they belong here. They have their own political organizations. They have got their own non-profit organizations, human rights organizations, whatever. They have a right to do whatever they want to do here, for as long as they are not plotting to overthrow the government, which becomes then treason. So in this case, those people who are saying treason, 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 they're just exposing their ignorance. Because if you talk about treason, which is a criminal offense, a serious criminal offense, you have got to unpack it. And you must not just use treason, loosely and think that it's just an English word that you can go around throwing it around. No, it has got a specific, serious legal meaning. It has got elements. Treason has got elements. I'm not going to deal with those elements now. And just like crime, if you say somebody has committed crime, there are 4 elements that you need to meet for something to qualify or to be called a criminal offense. You don't just use this word loosely and say someone has committed crime. That's nonsense. It's because it actually shows that you're exposing yourself that, number one, you don't read or you are not informed. So, guys, let us leave these people alone. Let them go on with their public spats against America, but they're not going to win. America is powerful. Our GDP is a drop in an ocean, right? We're running a GDP of about 0.4 of the GDP of the world. America is running a trade deficit with us, right? They are exporting to South Africa a very small part of their compared to what we export to America. They are giving us a big business. They have opened their markets to us. We are talking about 300 billion in 2024 that we exported to America. And they compare that to 120 billion that they exported to South Africa. So they are running a trade deficit. So you cannot take that one lightly and say, to hell with America. Hey, wake up. You are saying that because you are a fat cat. And most of these politicians, they are so rich. In fact, let me tell you, they have stolen so much from us that even if we were to wake up with, South Africa was to wake up with sanctions tomorrow, where America would actually impose sanctions on South Africa, these guys won't starve. They are very fat. They won't even lose weight because they've got enough money to survive, just like it happened in Zimbabwe. Politicians do not suffer when these sanctions hit our shores. So don't support Cyril. Stay away from this thing of just because it sounds like now, just because ANC has got a problem with AfriForum, they want everybody else to have a problem with AfriForum. ANC has lost the votes. So now when they go around and saying, oh, Cyril and his friends, they go around and say we cannot be bullied. Basically what they are trying to do now, they are mobilizing South Africans to their side to say, yes, you see, South Africans are angry about AfriForum. No, that's not true. No, it's not true. Many South Africans, they have no issues with AfriForum. They don't see any problems with what AfriForum is doing. So please, guys, let us not join ANC in their ego trip, where they don't actually even believe that they have lost power. They still think that they are in power. ANC has lost power. The only people who brought ANC back to power was DA. I understand the strategic reasoning there that they had to keep or to avoid a doomsday or a dooms coalition, so they say. I've got my different views when it comes to that point. But anyway, having said that, let me just state our position as an active business and civil society party, okay? This is a new party. This is a party that is not a party that is distributing T-shirts on the roads and caps. This is not the party that is standing up and start being active every time the elections are coming close. This is the party that is actually based within the grassroots, the people themselves. We work with the people every day. We assist with people in setting up businesses. We support businesses. We advise the civil society in the issues that affect the civil society. We work with the people every day. And that's what we are doing every day, literally every day. In fact, we are getting a mandate every day to say, guys, please, you need to be ready for the next coming elections, the local government elections, so that you can go in there and remove all those clowns that are busy messing up with the country. And we have taken that mandate. So you will notice that in all the videos that you will see, that will come from now hence, it will be about the people, how we actually assist the people, the work that we have done. And right now, the most important thing for us is the information, to give people information, to make people understand why we find ourselves where we are. How did we come here? You know, where is this whole thing of anti-AfriForum sentiment coming from? What is it? Who is cooking this thing? And what are the reasons? And like I'm saying to you, our position is very clear. AfriForum has not committed any treason. There is no crime. Okay. And I want also to make sure that you understand that Donald J. Trump is not against South Africans. Donald J. Trump is against the African National Congress. Remember, African National Congress only got about 6.8 million votes, guys. So they are representing their friends, their members, their supporters, their sympathizers. They don't represent us in general as South Africans. Okay. So the enemies of ANC are not necessarily our enemies. That must be very, very clear, and you must never forget this thing, because that's what they are trying to do. What now they are doing, Cyril is playing a game, in fact, with these ANC guys. They are playing a game where they want to say certain things, and they put them as if it's all South Africans that are saying those things. They are not making it clear that it is them as the ANC who say the things that they are saying. You see? So we need to be vocal about these things and tell the world that no, it's ANC that is saying the things that it is saying. It's not us as South Africans. Us who are saying something else. We love America, right? And the enemies of ANC, they are not necessarily our enemies. And their friends are not necessarily our friends. We relate with everybody on a win-win basis. Okay. We as South Africans, we have no issues with Russia. We have no issues with Ukraine. We have no issues with Palestine, no issues with Israel. We have no issues with anybody, as long as there will always be a mutual benefit relationship. That's all we want. We're not driven by any ideology. We don't come with the baggage of a communist or socialist ideology. Those things are outdated, tired, they are useless, they don't work. What works is mutual understanding at all times. Keep talking about things, strategizing, negotiating, striking deals, exchanging value. That's the most important thing. And when we do everything in the interest of the country, not in the interest of the organization. So these guys, they have lost their heads. So we must distance ourselves as far as possible. We must stay as far as possible from the policies of ANC. ANC has got bad policies. In fact, it has got so much bad policies that I don't even think for a moment they actually understand today what is it that they are sitting with. We have heard for a long time that ANC actually is pursuing a national democratic revolution. And when you look at this thing, national democratic revolution, it's an ideology or a document that was actually drafted in the 50s. And it was actually driven by the Communist Party. And the ANC adopted this nonsense, where, it's like we should be moving from capitalism to socialism, and then using strategy and tactics, and then try and implement socialism, and then if it pushes back, and then we retreat a little bit until the right time, and so on, and then finally we'll get into communism. That's nonsense. It's not going to work, and we're not going to allow it. It's not going to happen. We don't want that. We are capitalists, period. We're operating in a free market economy. That's what we are going to fight for as long as we are alive. We need freedom. We must remain free to do what we want. Nobody must tell us how to produce, what to produce, when to produce. It's not going to happen. Okay. So, if you guys, as South Africans, you support ANC in their rhetoric against Trump, their rhetoric against AfriForum, I'm going to deal with the AfriForum right now. If you support that nonsense, you're actually supporting ANC, and you will find yourselves under the wings of ANC. Stay away from ANC. ANC has lost power. ANC must go. We've got to make sure that ANC in the next local government elections, it gets nothing. Even in Gauteng, Lesufi was actually put there by DA. He lost. He lost with all his tricks. Nasispani, all those corruption things that he was doing. Nasispani coming up with creating some fake jobs, taking some kids and telling them that they are now crime prevention officers, and then before you know, they are taken to the road. They are told, no, you are now traffic officers. You understand? So he lost, and he's going to lose big time because he's still arrogant and he doesn't know what he's doing. Okay? So guys, I plead with you, stay away from participating in this ANC rhetoric against AfriForum. Okay? Let us look at now what AfriForum said. All right. I'm inviting anyone to say exactly everything that the AfriForum said in America. And the people are saying AfriForum said there's genocide in South Africa. White people are being murdered. There's a large scale of confiscation of the land, and there's a genocide, white genocide, and so forth and so forth. I listened to a lot of videos where AfriForum was explaining what they went to do in America. And they have got the right to do that. Nobody can stop them. There's any organization, even yourself, you have got the right. If you get frustrated in this country, you have got the right to go to another country and tell them what's happening in your country. Right? That's not treason. Must not be scared by people talking about treason they don't know. Treason is a legal, if you talk treason, the legal meaning of treason is a very, very serious. You can't just throw it around. If you don't know it, go and sit down and learn and read. Because that's the only way that a human being can know something is to sit down and read. So there's no treason here. All these guys have done, they went out there to make sure that the West, they understand, particularly America, because it's under Trump. Trump is a no-nonsense guy. They made it a point that Trump understands their plight. He understands that they have got problems here in South Africa. And one of the biggest problems that they have is this thing called expropriation of the land without compensation. That is a big problem. The day we do that thing, this country will go down the drain like something that we have never seen before. We as active business civil society, we don't believe in expropriation of land without compensation. We believe in expropriation with compensation, full compensation at market value. And the two, in the event that the expropriation or maybe in the event that we need to pursue transformation, which is something that we need to do. But we believe in appropriation of the land. We believe in mentorship. We believe that we need to sit down with the farming community and say to them, guys, here is a number of black people who would love to farm. they have got these qualifications, or we have trained them on this. Can you give them a piece of land to prove themselves? We get into a mentorship program. We support those farmers, and then there will be a period of a handover slowly. Obviously, farmers are not getting younger and younger, and some of their children, they don't want to continue with farming. Most of them, they are doing degrees, they are doing engineering, they are running podcasts. Some of them, they just go overseas. So slowly, they will actually end up selling to the upcoming farmers, but who would have been given the skills. That's our approach to this issue of land, not expropriation of land. That thing is going to kill the economy. We finished. Appropriation means sitting down with the farming community and saying, guys, here is the program of action. If you have got so many hectares of land, can we take 30% and give it to these upcoming farmers? And then we find that land, we give him the value for the land. And then these ones, they must work and prove themselves that they can actually work hard under the guidance of an experienced farmer. And then from there, it's a win-win. And then if the farmer, for this, after some time, these guys can propose to the farmer and say, listen, man, want to buy another piece from you, because they'll be having money. I mean, when products go to the market, all the products go to the market. If you're doing export, you're doing export. And then they get the money, they can see they've got a lot of money to can start buying more and more of the farm until they buy out the farmer. That is how business works. You don't go and take the farm from somebody and give it to a government or give it to another person that you are not even sure if this guy, he knows what he's doing. That's point number one when it comes to this issue of expropriation of land. Very important. Of course, there are times when land will be expropriated, in the public interest. There are many reasons. Of course, the Constitution covers that. But I'm just dealing with this one of taking land and thinking that you're going to take land. Either you want the state to keep the land with the hope that it will find somebody who's going to be able to use the land, or you take it straight to a person. You've got to make sure that person knows how to farm. But you can only know how to farm if you have been mentored by a person who has got experience in the game. Okay. And then, so now, there's nobody who can stand up. Well, maybe you guys know better than me. Maybe you know what I don't know. You can tell me exactly what did they say about genocide. The genocide, when at some point when I listened to it, it was a question of the Afrikaners as a minority. In fact, if it was animals, I would say they are a threatened species, so to say. When many of them get killed, the way they get killed in the farms, it's easy to see it as an attack on the farmers, on the Afrikaners, on the basis of race, on the basis that they are farmers. It's very easy. They are human beings. You have got to understand. They have got to interpret things and ask themselves why these things are happening. And in a figure of speech, it's also easy to express it as a genocide and say, well, we are being slaughtered on the basis that we are Afrikaners, we are white, we are farmers. And then it's easy as a human being to start expressing your frustration that way, to say, well, there is the genocide here, we are being massacred here on the basis of those things that I've just mentioned. And with me, I would sympathetically understand and say, okay, I understand. Yes, other people, they argue that we're all faced with crime in South Africa. Of course, that is true. There's crime all over. Black people are dying every day. And in numbers, we agree. But for a minority like Afrikaners, it's very sensitive. And you need to be sympathetic to understand that their understanding of what is going on will be different from our understanding if the argument is that there's crime in general. Okay. So you'll then go and hear people like Thuli Madonsela, they come and I thought she was a professor of law. And then now I see that she's now a professor of politics as well. And to come and, demonize the actions of AfriForum, no, they are against transformation. She does not understand Afrikaners. Afrikaners, they want transformation, but they want orderly transformation. Transformation where we sit down and exchange ideas. How can we transform our society to a better society? Afrikaners are not against. I've worked with Afrikaners from Ottosdal. I worked in Ottosdal for 2 years. I worked in Schweizer Reneke. I understand those people. I worked with the Afrikaners that they were not, probably in their lives they never spent more than 10% of their time with a black person, except for their employees. But when I engaged with them trying to explain the whole idea of a mentorship, all of them, they loved it. And some of them would actually say to me, why don't you become a president? You see? So it's a question of staying away from being emotional. Because you see, the problem that I've also observed is that people, it's like they're checking where the wind is going. If many people say something, they don't even pause to think about it and apply their minds. They just accept it as it is and they transmit that information to the next person as the truth. This is a problem. We should avoid doing those things. What we need to be doing, we should be trying to think about things. How true is it? Or is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? How can we make it better? What is the other solution instead of what we're saying or what other people are saying and so forth? So for me, honestly, AfriForum was correct and they're still correct. And I support them that if they are frustrated, they try to speak to the president on numerous occasions and they were just ignored. What did we expect them to do? And some people will come here, they would be suggesting that, why they didn't follow the courts and so forth. Going to the courts is a lot of money and it takes forever. And who are you to tell them how to approach their frustration? If they have got a frustration, which is political frustrations are not resolved in courts. I don't understand when people come, because you'll hear that this one is some of them, they are experts. They are called experts in land transformation or experts in this, experts in that. In fact, at some point, I'm going to play you some of these videos and to show you some of these people, you see. So for me, Afrikaners, they are correct. Just like any other person, when he's stressed up with the government of the day and you are ignored, you will always look for friends somewhere. Okay. Even ANC did that during the struggle. They had to go out because the government of the day was not listening to them. Are we now coming back and saying we want to bring back those laws that actually put the ANC leaders in prison, charged with treason? Is that what we want to do now? And bring it to the Afrikaners and say they have committed the acts of treason? Just when they just went to America and they just expressed their frustration just to make sure that Trump knows that they exist, recognizes them as a minority that has got problems and they want assistance in putting pressure on the African National Congress. Is that so wrong? I don't see anything wrong. Okay. Now, the issue of, I don't know, even some people, I always thought that they were intelligent enough to understand when somebody else is speaking and they're using a figure of speech. You can speak figuratively, you understand? And you see this thing that Trump does it now and again. And sometimes Trump is a businessman, and he's a kind of a guy that you can tell him something and he can magnify it right there, just to make it audible to another person. Even if you didn't say what you said, he can just say it, Trump is Trump. To give you an example, for instance, if you were to come to Trump as a businessman and you say to him, you have got a problem with some workers, they did 1, 2, 3, and so on. I can tell you now, just to dramatize it, Trump can ask you, have you fired them or they're still working? Just like that. It's not that literally says go and fire them. Probably he wants to tell you that, listen here, you have got to take tough actions against people who behave like that. He can even go on and tell you that, otherwise, if you don't fire them, you're fired. Just things like that. That's how he speaks. That's Trump. It's like if you say a country like Lesotho that no one has ever heard of. No, man, Trump knows Lesotho. You understand? And how can people behave like children? Now they take this one thing, they run with it. Yeah, Trump says he does not know. Some of them, they even do radio shows about Trump saying, or talking Lesotho down. He says Lesotho doesn't know, but the denims were producing Lesotho. Now, to me, honestly, it shows that there is a low level of maturity. In fact, I think a lot of people, you can look at them and think that these people are sophisticated. And you discover that actually they are not. Yeah, you can look at a person having some qualifications. They say he has got a PhD, and then you get surprised that this guy, this PhD, it looks like it's just a paper. He was actually, he never got educated. He just got certificated. That's the impression I get, that many people, they have a problem in applying their brains, in analyzing things, interpreting things for what they are, and be able to understand what is it exactly that the person is saying. Now, so that's what Trump is. Then you go to the issue of US aid. I mean, come on, guys. How can we cry? How can we cry? How can we dare cry for somebody withdrawing his money? It's his money. Now we are crying, no, he's a bad guy. We are going to have debts. We're going to have this. That's nonsense. The guy is just withdrawing his money. They're looking internally. I mean, this thing of PEPFAR was organized by George Bush many years ago, I think 2013 or whatever. And then, so this money is USA. They come there as a result. So they basically, these are agents that are managing these presidential funds. You understand? So why are people crying for this money? I don't understand. Actually, we did not even need to be getting those monies in the first place from these countries, because we've got a lot here. The problem, we've got a lot, but it gets stolen by our leaders. That is why we cry so much. These guys, they steal everything. They even steal the stock. When you steal, usually people who steal, they don't steal the stock. If you look at the apartheid guys, they were stealing money, the Afrikaners, but they were stealing from profit. And then us here was stealing from you steal the stock. Now, if you steal the stock, you won't even think of making profit. Even tomorrow, you won't even have a start. You have nothing. That's why you start now begging. Okay. Now, for us as a active business and civil society, we see no problems with AfriForum. In fact, AfriForum, in my view, is an organization that we can work with. I know that whenever this expropriation of land was spoken before, there were people who were even suggesting that, no, actually, I think, I don't know if it's still the case, that in fact, even the land of the Zulu people under the Ingonyama Trust will be expropriated. And the Ingonyama wanted to hear that clearly from Cyril. That's why he went to kneel before the king to reassure the king that that's not going to happen. And that should not happen. It will never happen. Nobody will ever take the land of the Zulu people. That land belongs to them. Maybe there are certain things that we need to also find out here, Because I looked at, for instance, the ownership of the land. In fact, I'm going to show it in the next video that I'll be doing. And I saw that there's quite a significant, a large portion of land that is owned by Indians. And I asked myself, is it going to be expropriated? Who did that land belong to? How did they acquire that land? Can we go back and visit that and check and see if that land will be expropriated too? I don't know. So we need to be careful when you talk about this expropriation of land without compensation. And also, the issue of expropriating the land. Most of the time, I can tell you right now, that land will be taken by politicians. It will never go to the people themselves. The people of South Africa, in general, they are not looking for the land. They are looking for jobs. They are looking for job opportunities. Many, they want to start their businesses. Ask me, because I work with them in the townships. They want to start their businesses. They are not looking for land. The people who are looking for this land is actually the politicians. And they are looking for the best land. They are looking for big farms that are owned by white people. They want to take these farms for themselves. And they'll never even work there. They will employ people because they want to take a lot of money. They are not satisfied with the money that they are stealing from these positions that they have occupied in all the three tiers of government. No, they want more. You see, if there are people in South Africa who want land, I think they must actually raise their hands and let us know how many of these people and what is it that they want, what do they want the land for. They must raise their hand. We must have a register of people who say they want land. There will be those who want land to build houses. There will be those who want land to farm. There will be those who want maybe land, to build a golf course, to go and play golf. But let us understand, who are these people who want land? We don't have that register. So that at least we can say, okay, guys, how many are you? Okay, you are 20. Okay, that's fine. We thought that everyone wants the land. So it's only 20 years. Okay, what we're going to do, guys, we're going to give you a land, but this is how we're going to do it. We're going to negotiate it. If you want to farm because you have never farmed before, or if you have got experience in farming, where did you get experience? Then we look there. If you have a farm and you want more land, then we'll negotiate with another farmer that is supposed to be expropriated, but we don't expropriate. We say, listen, man, we want to give this black farmer or convert this black farmer for subsistence farming to commercial farming. And then we can ask this guy and fund that project where they can work together. This one mentors this one, and then they grow, and this one can buy out this one at a later stage. That is organized, that is productive, that is economics. Okay. So for me, that's what would work. Okay. So I am warning general South Africans that, listen, guys, let us stay away from the rhetoric of ANC. ANC has failed. We cannot keep on supporting people or following people who have failed. Never follow failures. You must follow the winners at all times. So us as an active business civil society, we will work with AfroForum. We will work with America. We will work with Russia. We will work with Ukraine. We will work with everybody. We will work with the people of Palestine. We will work with Israel. We have no problems with people. No problems with people. Right? But for as long as we are not destructive, we are not antagonizing America, we are not antagonizing the West in general. So we've got to be careful. There are certain things that are sensitive. We must be respectful, respect other people. You cannot tell me that you are not going to respect America. Who are you? Who is South Africa not respecting America? America is a giant. You know, even China respects America. They don't treat America like shit. You see, they approach America with diplomacy. They are very careful. They don't go around talking too much in shebeens and so forth. No, if the rand has fallen, we'll pick it up. Or we're going to rename the street Leila Khalele so that Americans, they can have on their letterheads, Leila Kadi. Hey, it does not work. In fact, I want to close by saying, guys, the problem is one. The problem is one. If things can go wrong in South Africa, just like it happened in Zimbabwe, South Africans are the ones who are going to suffer. Politicians are not going to suffer. The same politicians that are talking too much in the media, and they're saying Trump can go to hell. Even this COSATU is saying they must kick out close the embassy of America in South Africa. COSATU, out of all the people. I mean, COSATU has dwindled. It's almost nothing now, you know. After the formation of SAF, there's nothing. In fact, the workers are disillusioned about this thing of trade unions. Because the trade unions, what they have done, they have created an empire for themselves, these leaders. I mean, they've got assets, they own malls. But the workers and the money that came from the workers, they have got a lot of money. They control pension funds, provident fund. They've got investment wings. Who is benefiting out of all these assets? The workers don't benefit. When they are retrenched, they go and stay at home. But they have been contributing in building these things. In my view, the workers must demand ownership of these things. They must stand up and say, enough is enough. We want to have shares in all these companies that these unions have built using the investment wings, because that money belongs to the workers. It cannot be that the government, through the Labor Department, they allow this nonsense to go on. Now there comes COSATU. Do they know how many jobs will be lost? But they are saying they are actually representing the workers. Do they know how many jobs will be lost if America would hit us with sanctions? And they go and say, no, they will be welcoming Rasul, home as one of us. One of us in what way? I've got a story about that guy. I know that guy from Cape Town. I know what he was doing there. And ANC, they keep recycling the same people who are problematic. I don't know. So now he has been booted out from America and then he's back. So a lot is going to happen. But I'm glad that the Americans, they know that the problem is ANC, is not the South Africans. And I can bet, guys, what is going to happen here is that America is going to hit ANC and ANC members with sanctions, not South Africans. And us as active business and civil society and other peace-loving South Africans, peace-loving organizations will go and rebuild the bridges that are broken by ANC. We will convince Trump administration that South Africa loves America. We love the West, and we will work with the West. As active business civil society, it's our job to make sure that business is successful. Because the success of business in South Africa is the success of the civil society. There's a very close relationship and a tight bond between the civil society and business. What has been happening here is that these politicians, they have been manipulating people, making them to think that business is a problem. Business is a solution, not a problem. And the people now, they have woken up from slumber. They know that actually they've been told lies over and over again that they will be employed by government. Government is not employing anybody. So the people know now that no, man, business is actually what we need. And the government needs to be smaller and business must be bigger. That's us. That's what we believe in. That's what is going to happen. So guys, with that said, thank you very much for listening to me. Share this video, subscribe, comment, whether it's positive or it's negative, let me know. It can only build us. And please don't be a coward. If you disagree with me, just put down your name and your number. I can contact you. I can invite you on my show. And then we can engage. And we exchange, record our discussions, send them to the public. Let's get more people talking. Let us hear what other people are thinking. It should not be a question of you demonizing me for the things that I say. I'm not claiming to be 100% correct. I'm not claiming to have the monopoly of knowledge. No, but at least the little that I know and that I can say, I am saying it. And the little that I know is out there in the open. And then if you disagree with me in a gentle way and respect me, I'll respect you. Please leave your comments, anything that you want to say. I'll come back to you and I'll arrange that we can have a discussion if you so wish. And then look out for the previous video that I've done, introduction to politics. And then you can also check the other videos that are coming. I'll be doing a lot of videos. I want to share as much as I can. And I think together we can be informed and be able to change our country and make it what our country should be, or what we want to make it look like. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.